Okay, we're going to bring in Michael Letts and Nils Grevillius. Guys, thanks for being with us. Lots to talk about. I want to get right to these Epstein files. It just dribbles out. It never ends. Now they're saying they're not releasing everything. Now they're saying that, Trump's picture got deleted. I mean, I find this to be so tiring. When is this thing just going to get released so we can put this behind us? Let's start with Michael Letts.
Well, I agree with you wholeheartedly, John. I think it's becoming more and more frustration. I think that's exactly what their purpose is to try to make it a frustrating thing, especially from a Democratic side, to make it appear as if we're not delivering on our promises. And I think that's crucial. I think Pam holds the key here. I think what has to happen, John, is just as you've indicated, dump the file. Whatever's in it is in it. Dump the file. You can take as long as you want to, John, to go through it, a day, a week, a month, a year. That's up to you. But let's dump the file and move on to getting indictments, to getting things, holding people accountable. You have to understand with the Epstein file, yes, there are going to be people that need to be held accountable. But, John, there's more important people right now for accountability. We're talking about Barack Obama, who should be facing an indictment the first of the year for treason, for sedition, for trying to overthrow our government, and his whole cabinet, shall we say, John Brennan, James Clapper. Joe Biden was in on this. I mean, there are so many other key factors that are important to the future of this country. That's what the American people want to know. Yes, nobody wants child pedophiles to escape without punishment. But this is such a huge file with Epstein. Give us something that affects the actual progress of this country, which is when you talk about treason and sedition. Let's work on that first with the military tribunal. And then we can get back and worry about the Epstein files once the stuff is dumped and everybody gets to go through it and figure out who's who.
Kind of ridiculous that this thing is still dragging on. And every day, and now I got to, hear from Massey and Rokan and this. You're right. Just dump it. Let's bring in Nils. I don't know why this just is dragging on and dragging on. Nils, thanks for being with us. We're all just getting sick of it, right? I mean, it's been going on now for, 6-7 months. Just dump the file, like Michael said. I mean, here we are again talking about it again. What is the holdup here?
Well, I think you've got a counterintelligence case here, and what they're holding back partly is the identification of the juvenile victims, and then there are other aspects of it that would identify whom the targets of the intelligence operation were. And some of this case got pushed over into counterintelligence. I'm going to take us back to February with A.G. Bondi's initial press conference where she had egg all over her face at the end of it. Mr. Dennehy, Jim Dennehy, the special agent in charge, Southern District of Manhattan, was concealing everything in the case file from her. He resigned the next day, not from the case, from the FBI. 19 years with the FBI, and he quit. And I'm going to tell you why. Mr. Dennehy didn't handle sex trafficking investigations. Mr. Dennehy didn't handle major fraud, major crimes, kidnappings, the kind of cases that Michael Letts and I typically handle, that sort of thing. He was a counterintelligence man from start to finish, okay? The Epstein thing looks like an intelligence operation, probably CIA and MI6, okay? If it was the Israelis, it wouldn't have been botched up, bollocksed up like this thing is, all right? And that's your best clue as to what's going on here. And Mr. Letts is correct. They need to get past this, and the best way to get past it is to just dump it all out there and let it lay where it lays, okay? What I have my eye on is Mr. Quinones' federal grand jury that's being impaneled in Fort Pierce, Florida after the first of the year. And that's when Brennan, Clapper, and some of these other espiocrats are going to get hauled in front of that federal grand jury. And they're all going to be pleading the fifth, either that or trying to urinate backwards on themselves or something like that to get out of this. All right. I've been looking at this for a long time. I'm keeping my eyes on the prize. And I'm not going to get distracted by psyops trying to divide my side, which is what Nick Fuentes is. Nick Fuentes never tries to divide the left. He only tries to divide my side. Okay, so I'm going to keep my eye on this thing. There's going to be more to come of this. Yeah, it's a big distraction, that sort of thing, and more will come out. I'm going to say that the president we have right now is the most investigated president in the history of the United States of America. And if these bastards had anything on the man, it already would have been spilled all over the Washington media. And that's it.
What do you think of that, Michael?
Well, I think one of the key things we talked about that is very accurate is we know we have huge intelligence agencies involved in this. I mean, that's why the whole thing was created, John. It's a great blackmail tool. That's how they maintain control for all these decades. And now they're trying to cover their ass to make sure that they don't get discovered. And that's why the delay is. So here's what we just need to do. Screw them. I mean, just dump it all out there. Let the public take them to task. Our intelligence agencies, we need to bring them in anyway, John. And let's deal with part of this. If you deal with what we talked about with sedition, treason, etc., it all kind of is like a snowball going down a hill. We'll pick up everything else as the snowball rolls. You're trying to keep that first snowball from going. Get out of the way, let that snowball roll, and just watch it hit.
I mean, I just think this is such a major distraction. It's been going on for months and months. We got so many law enforcement issues in this nation.
We do.
I mean, it's really getting out of hand now. Not here in DC, because I live in the safest city in America. But you look at some of these other cities. I want to get to New York City. I know how are these guys going to function with this guy in there.
They're not. Let me tell you why I say that. When Joe Biden took office, you remember we had 1.4 million officers. When he left, we had a little over 700,000. New York specifically should have 40,000. They're down to 25,000. I've got all kind of friends and connections there. They tell me another 5,000 are ready to submit their resignation on January the 1st. You're going to have half the force. You cannot provide protection for the public with half the force. They'll burn out the other half within probably 3 months or less, 2 months. So you're going to have major changes, impeach the guy and get rid of him and bring some stability and common sense back, or everybody needs to get out of New York and just let it collapse within itself. It's going to be one of the other jobs.
What do you think of their Nils?
Well, New York Police Department has traditionally operated with between 30 and 40,000 officers, like Michael has said. They have a different policing problem because the city is the police officers are very well represented, and when they decide that they're not going to get bossed around by Mom Donkey and the other communists elected to civil government, there's going to be nothing but problems. All Mom Donkey is going to do is turn New York into Mom Donkey-stan. That's what he's doing there. The way that Los Angeles operates is a bit different. They put 7,000 or 8,000 women to work as cops in Los Angeles, and they concentrate their forces where they are immediately needed and maintain kind of a low profile until it's absolutely necessary. Los Angeles is horizontal, New York is vertical. So they got different law enforcement problems. But electing communists to government doesn't work well. Los Angeles did this with Karen Bass, okay? And you saw what happened in the Pacific Palisades. It's an incredible debacle. People are suffering. They lost their houses. You got 6 to 8 people dying every day of the week of fentanyl overdose in Los Angeles County. It's continuous. So when voters have had enough, they'll start voting in the other direction. But I will say these young people have a remarkable appetite for stupidity. The people voting for Mom Donkey and Karen Bass and Newsom, that sort of thing, they're about to launch Gavin Newsom as the preeminent candidate for the Democrat Party. I don't know what the hell is going on here. I saw something yesterday about maybe Jeb Bush and Liz Cheney running as Democrats. I don't know. I mean, it's making Michael laugh. It makes John Fredericks laughing now, right? They'd probably get more votes as Democrats than they ever would as Republicans. Anyway, that's what I'm looking at. If I'm seeing it wrong, tell me so.
Unfortunately, you're not seeing it wrong. And yes, let's get an independent party, Jeb Bush and Liz Cheney. That would, I guess they could get John Bolton could be their foreign policy advisor. Then they'd have the trifecta. Michael, where I live here in Washington, D.C., it was laughable. Our former police chief accused by leakers of doctoring crime statistics, just completely doctoring them, making them into something they're not, so that people wouldn't know. But people knew the crime was there, so everybody was questioning what those numbers were. Then it comes out that she had intimidated her, 7 commanding officers into complying with her deceit wishes, or they would get retaliated against and punished. And so that leaked out. And so she's got to resign. She said it was for personal reasons, whatever. And then in her press conference, she blasts everything and basically tells Washington, D.C. to screw off, gives everybody the middle finger, and rides off into the sunset. What was your take on that?
Well, I think she did what she did because she was facing obstruction of justice. She wanted to get her behind out of there before they end up putting cuffs on her. I mean, that's the bottom line. But here's the stupid part about it, John. Why do you want to mess with crime statistics? I mean, because the public knows what's going on. For you say, hey, there's no crime and everybody's getting shot every day, and they know you're being stupid. And if you say, oh, there's great crime and nobody sees anything anywhere, they know you're being stupid. So it just blows my mind that you would want to go to politics that far. For what purpose? What does it gain you other than the fact that it puts you in good grace with your bosses, the Democratic Party, to lie to the American people? And I think that's what it's coming down to. Whether it's elections or anything else, it's the truth or lies. And the Democratic Party has become a perfectionist on lying. And the other thing I went through that Niles was saying is, we also still got to deal with this election integrity. John, the reason why you have such, we say about we have all these stupid people to vote, which I agree with you, Niles, but I think they get help by getting, election fraud helps make sure that the numbers are there, that their stupidity can actually be productive and they can win. They can't win by stupidity if you don't have election fraud to help them out. And I think that's coming out. I think we're finding out here in the first quarter of next year, you're going to find out that we really didn't have a President Biden in 2020. And I think you're going to find out just how bad this election fraud has been. But let's just hope it's not like the Epstein files, that we're going to talk about it and then do nothing about it. I mean, don't bring it up if you're not going to solve it. We know how to solve it. Let's get the indictments going and let's start locking some people up,
John. Excuse me. Well, you're right about that. Excuse me. There's still 30,000 fake ballots allegedly in a warehouse in Atlanta that got run through a copy machine. 5 years later, we still can't get a forensic order to these ballots. 5 years later.
Yes.
I mean, if there was nothing there, they would have agreed to this from day one. 5 years later, they're still sitting in a warehouse, judge still sitting on it, because they know when they does a forensic audit, they're going to find out that these ballots were copies made, run through a copy machine. They're all the same, and then taken out in the middle of the night and put through the scanner, which tipped the election in favor of Biden in Fulton County. I mean, that's going to come out sometime before, I guess, I'm dead. But 5 years and it's still sitting there, Nils.
Well, when were they not cheating like this? I mean, it's remarkable. It's extraordinary. Let's hold it out. Let the public see it. I think the context of these things is always quite remarkable, and I think President Trump headed in the right direction, and it's probably going to continue going in that way, depending on how the midterms go. The midterms are incredibly important in terms of voter integrity. President Trump issued a couple of executive orders about voter ID at the beginning of this term, and that's got to push its way up the court. The way that he operates is he does something to clarify what is in the law through executive order. The Democrats immediately take him to court over it, and they get a temporary restraining order. The temporary restraining order pushes it up the appellate chain faster, and now they're trying to put the brakes on him getting it up through the appellate chain. So these are incredibly important things. Harmeet Dillon, head of the Civil Rights Division at the Department of Justice, is the other person working on election integrity, filing suits locally in various states where they won't reveal voter identification, things like that. We saw the thing in Iowa with the criminal illegal alien school superintendent who was registered to vote in Maryland. They wanted to, speaking of redactions, they produced his voter's registration in the state of Maryland with a bunch of redactions, and then they had to unredact it. Sure enough, the man was voting, okay? Which we are told over and over again, illegal aliens don't vote in the nation. It's incredibly weird. Illegal aliens seem to vote rather regularly in this nation, and they only vote for one party, and it's not mine.
Yeah, because they're giving you money. I mean, because they come in, and that's what they did in Minnesota. The Somalians come in, doesn't matter if they're legal or not. They get a driver's license, they vote, and they're told, hey, vote for the person with the D by their name. You'll get fraud and you'll get money. So that's what they do. I live in Washington, D.C. I just found out, get this, I just found out in our local elections, mayor, city council, school board, in our local elections, anyone here can vote. Anyone. Like, for instance, you're in a legal, yep, no problem. You just came in here, no problem. You work at the Iranian embassy trying to kill Americans, yep, no problem. You can vote too. I mean, it's insane what the elections are in Washington, D.C. You just show up and vote. Anybody can vote. You just have to have something showing where you live. You have to be a citizen. You have to be anything. You just go ahead and vote. Craziest system ever, man. Crazy.
John, I think I'm going to announce on your show we're going to put together a national drive. I don't want to overload your show for people who want to serve on a military tribunal. And let's hold these people accountable ourselves, since we can't get our government to do anything else.
I mean, it is just crazy what is going on. And, we thought that, I really thought that law and order was going to play a part in the 26 midterms. Now I don't. And now it's just about the economy. That's what the whole thing is. That's all the Democrats are going to make it on. And that's what the fake news is hammering. So we got to get this economy going. But look, on the other hand, if you can't get on the subway, if you can't get on the metro, if you can't walk down this street, you don't have a city. You've got chaos. And I think that's kind of where we're headed. It's going to be interesting, Nils, to see where New York City is in 12 months.
I agree.
Well,
it's going to be a lot different than what the mayor wants it to be.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Guys, I want to thank you for your time today. Nils, I never can say your last name. How do I say your last name?
My last name is Grevillius. It's the common spelling of Grevillius. It should be remarkably easy, John Fredericks. If you were my football coach, I'm sure that you would know my name by heart. I'd be a star, a standout on your team.
I would just call you NG. Make it easy. Grevillius. All right. Nils
Merry Christmas,
Grevillius,
John.
thank you. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Bonjour.
Christmas, Michael.
And Michael now has worked himself into becoming just a regular on our show. Always adds something. I agree with you both. Dump the Epstein files and just get it off the headlines. I am so sick of talking about the Epstein files. It's so boring. Just get them out there and be done with it.